Steve Walls alongside Darren Smith. Heck of a game today. We both said it was going to be a close one then during our pregame cheat sheet show earlier before the game. Definitely a close one. Nail biter, as I saw on Twitter. Your early thoughts on the Chiefs win today?
My early thoughts is I'm tired of this, man. Look, man, kind of gray hair as it is. You know what I'm saying? That Beijing ain't working. You know what I'm saying? That coming after every game. But I've got to say, it's impressive. I do think that the team is tempting with fate a little bit too much this early in the season. 3 weeks on the road to start the season off, going down to the wire. We kind of joke around. Can you just blow a team out, or can you at least, not let it go down to the wire? And they just don't listen. Yeah. But in all honesty, shout out to the defense, man. I mean, I know we'll talk more about it, but my first inclination is thank God, Spags is here with this defense that has just been balling out all 3 weeks.
And you mentioned we can start there with the defense.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that this defense can get any better.
Right.
I mean, because they picked up right where they left off last year. What did you see from this defense today?
Grit, saying, a team that does not give up. And as Spags told me in the locker room, they started out slow, and obviously, they prefer not to start off like that in the manner in which they did. But the fact that they were able to be resilient, obviously, Kirk Cousins and the offense literally walking down the field, marching down the field, scoring. And then, of course, they did it a couple of times, where they went down to score on their drives in the manner in which they did. But he's happy and he's proud of the way that the defense didn't give up and kept playing strong, obviously, until the very last end, with the all-out blitz that that he called, saying to make sure that they stop Bijan Robinson on 4th and 1.
Yeah, you mentioned Bijan. The Chiefs held the Atlanta Falcons to only 82 rushing yards.
Which is interesting because I thought he had ran for much more. I mean, it felt that way early on, the way that they were getting, they were going back and forth. But it's crazy because once the Chiefs got the lead, they didn't relinquish it, but they didn't, but they had many opportunities to put the game away, and they didn't. And I think the biggest mishap was Harrison Butker missing that extra point, because he makes that extra point. It's at least a 2-score game.
Right.
And, and then a couple of times that they had possession, the Chiefs didn't do anything with it, which was kind of disappointing.
Chiefs were able to get 2 sacks on Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
It was. I know we talked earlier, would it be disappointing if the Chiefs defensive line weren't able to sack Kirk Cousins?
Well, again, because when we saw the opening drive, I was really shocked about it, because I'm like, I mean, he wasn't mobile. I think the one time he tried to run, he ended up getting sacked in the second half. But I was really surprised how much they weren't, saying they weren't able to collapse, because a couple of times when they did collapse the pocket in, they were able to get their hands on him and at least keep him, within the pocket for the sack or saying a short gain or whatever. And so, look, I mean, it's again, for a quarterback that's not mobile, I was really surprised how effective he was that they only got 2 sacks against him.
Moving on to the Chiefs offense, 345 total offensive yards, man. Starting with Patrick Mahomes, 26 of 39, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
As he said in the postgame, he hasn't been playing well. And, look, man, a lot of people online are wondering, and look, we just keep wondering, a lot of people online are wondering what's going on in his head to where he's not, I mean, we talked about it last week after the Bengals game. If he's trying to win the 3rd MVP, he is not off on the right track. And the fact that, again, it's hard to say the offense is explosive because he's missing Pacheco now and he's missing Hollywood Brown, which we essentially haven't seen yet play with this team. And so it's hard to hold that against him. But it's still Patrick Mahomes, what I'm saying? And the offense and the team still finds a way to win. And so, with them saying that he's not playing well, and it is kind of showing up in on the stat sheet and stuff like that. Now, look, I give him credit. He targeted Rashee Rice 14 times, 12 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown. But the drastic drop-off between Rashee and Travis Kelce, for me, it's giving credence to people who's saying that Kelsey's washed up when he's not washed up. He's not in any stretch of the imagination. He's just we talked about it in the press, but I have no idea why he's not targeting or he's not getting more targets to Travis Kelce.
But you know what? It's tough
because he's not covered the entire game.
But it's tough to force it to him. I mean, and even in a post game,
that's essentially what he did last year when all the wide receivers were dropping passes left and right.
Even in a post game press conference, he was asked about Travis. And he said he's looking at Travis. They call plays for Travis. However, teams are playing him, different ways. And I can agree. However, are you wanting him to force the ball to him? I mean, because that's pretty much what it would be.
Yeah, but because I told you a couple of times it looked as though Kelce wasn't running full speed on his routes and stuff. I mean, if he wasn't running, and Patrick happened to throw the ball his way, and he's not running at full speed, when he gets hit, it might not. We've seen receivers get blasted. So, but I'm not saying force it, but 4 targets just ain't cutting it, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, you get four receptions, 30 yards. Rashee Rice, 12 receptions, 110 yards, and you have Xavier Worthy, 2 receptions, 17 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster, 2 receptions, 17 yards, one of them a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know. We both got a chance to talk to him after the game, and I'll get your thoughts on him right quick. But I know when I talked to him, I just want to know, how good did it feel? He had been away from the team for a year with New England coming back. Because I did actually mention to him how we talked about a pregame that we needed, we wanted to see him kind of step up, in the absence of Hollywood Brown, and the fact that he was able to get and I think one of us talked about him probably needing to score as well. Mm-hmm. Essentially, he did, and he's real happy, so that he was able to contribute. Wants to be able to do more, obviously, but. That was definitely glad he was able to get into the end zone tonight. And
just talking to Juju in the locker room post game, we talked more about just the atmosphere and the vibe of being here in Atlanta, in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Yeah. And he talked about, this is his first time playing in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he's been in the league for, 8 years.
But like you said, though, AFC, he was, hold on. Yeah, he was with Pittsburgh. So, you just, once every 8 years, it's hard to, it's hard to get down there. Of course, last time they played that, it was in the preseason in 2018, which was, 6 years ago. So, now I want to ask you, Carson Steele, got the call. I think we both got a chance to talk to him as well tonight. Your thoughts on this play? I mean, he didn't score, but 72 yards,
72 yards rushing. I think he did okay. If I had to give him a grade,
he might as well. I want to make sure we don't leave him out because he did.
I'd give Carson Steele a B for a grade. A B. Solid B. Passing.
Well, not only that, but he was able to catch the ball too.
And I guess we can ask the people that are watching us on social media, man. You can tell the difference in running backs between Isaiah Pacheco, Carson Steele, and Samaje Perine. There's a huge difference of the fact of how they hit the hole.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Isaiah Pacheco, no one runs the ball like he does. And then you get a Samaje Perine and Carson Steele. It seems to me like they're running in slow motion from what we've been watching these last couple of years with Isaiah Pacheco.
I can't really argue that. I can't argue that. They're 2 totally different style of running back.
Yeah, of course.
But to his credit, I will say this: for the way he played tonight, you can kind of, if you're Andy Reid, maybe give Kareem Hunt maybe another one.
No, you don't. No? I think Kareem Hunt adds a level to this offense that they don't have.
Oh yeah, he definitely has a level of explosiveness that we hope to see, and hopefully next week again. I'm Team Hunt. I want him to come back. Want him to play tonight. I thought tonight would have been he definitely could have been used tonight in tonight's game.
Do you feel like this offensive line? How do you feel like the offensive line played? Because we watched them play and we saw the gaping holes that they allowed. With Carson Steele. We also talked about the left side of the offensive line.
And you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I can't front. Patrick didn't hit the dirt at all. He was upright. They didn't sack him.
It was a couple close calls.
Yeah, look, hey, it only counts in horseshoes and your first kiss or whatever. So, look. Hey, man, we were surprised. I know you were surprised when Kingsley came in, and again, I think I got it confirmed. He was in other receivers. He was lined up at the tight end, which is why they called the penalty on him. It's like, yeah, we're bringing you back on the sidelines over here. And I don't think we saw him the rest of the night. So, look, Wanye did extremely well. Again, Mahomes, the offensive line didn't give up any sacks. And look, and even though we're talking about the left side, let's give a big shout out to Jawan Taylor on the right side, because remember all the problems he was having last year, with the penalties and the false starts and stuff. I think it might have been one. I don't know if it was the Bengals or the Ravens that he might have been called for a false start. But other than that, we haven't had any issues on his side. So the fact that, as I told people earlier, people were talking about Kingsley should still start and play through it. I'm like, you don't risk that on a 500. No. I said Andy Reid and Andy Heck have built enough credibility over the last 2 years with how they've handled this stuff. If they want to bench them and put Wanye back in, I'm gonna give them that grace. I'm gonna give them that trust, because they know what they're doing. They're the coaches. We're the spectators. So, I thought they did a good decision. I feel like I was right about that.
The Chiefs defeat the Atlanta Falcons 22-17 right here inside of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Another road game next week. I mean, they're 3-0. No matter how it looks, we talk about the games being close. No matter how it looks,
all the counts is a W. I give you credit for that. It goes in the counts as a W. And look, the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert. He started in the game today, but I think he got injured again. I know he had a high ankle sprain coming into the game, and I can't remember which quarterback finished it off. So Chiefs are going in there next week, next Sunday, late afternoon game. It's early afternoon for us because it's 2 hours behind. So taking on the Chargers. Chargers are now 2-1. I can't remember if the Broncos are 1-2 or 2-1. I know they won today, but
I think they're 1-2.
Okay, and the Raiders lost today, so they won. So
to Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Woo. So the Chiefs have a good opportunity come next Sunday to put a little distance. Obviously depending on what happens with what the Broncos and Raiders do, but if they can win that game, that'll give them at least a 1 to 2 game cushion, in the AFC West, which they'll need, because the following week they're home on a Monday night against New Orleans. And even though New Orleans played down to the wire, they could have won that game, but they lost against the Eagles. They're still going to be a tough out in there, because they can't put up points. But we saw, if the defense shows up to play, you can put a stop to Derek Carr in that offense.
You guys can catch myself alongside Darren Smith, also Sean Tyler, and DJ Q tomorrow. The Red Hour. Catch us right here online. We're going to be talking all things Chiefs football. We'll talk about the win. We'll talk about the environment. Got to see T.I. today, Candy Burris, Lil John,
Samuel
Jackson. Yeah, it was this environment in Atlanta, man. You can't even put into words the amount of electricity that was in the stadium today.
I'm going to tell you this now. Atlanta didn't owe us anything. Yeah. I mean, basically, they, just being here and just the atmosphere here at Mercedes-Benz. I posted a picture. I took a picture. You probably won't pay attention, but I took a picture in the press box of like the little TV monitor that they have for each of our seats. If Arrowhead is to ever get a new stadium, hopefully they think of doing something like that. Yeah. But the biggest thing I love about the stadium is that, at least I don't know how much tickets are, but I think you can kind of price gouge because of the teams that are coming in. But the refreshment, the food and stuff for the fans, very affordable. I mean, I think hot dogs in Kansas City probably $10.50. Hot dogs here are $2. And so the owner going into the Ring of Honor, it was sponsored. I can't remember if it was Lay's or someone that sponsored it, but every fan was able to get 2 free hot dogs, a bag of potato chips, and a souvenir drink. Which
can't complain about that.
You can't complain about that at all.
All right, like I said, tomorrow, catch myself, Darren Smith, Sean Tyler, also DJ Q for the Red Hour, 6:30 to 7:30. We're broadcasting right here online. So catch us. We're talking all things Chiefs. We appreciate everybody who tuned in tonight. What time is it in Kansas City? 11:30? 11:30, 12:30 for us here. Catch us tomorrow. Thanks for joining in. We are out of here.